Part 3. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 21. That night, Xiaoming and Maomoer talked for a long time. Although Maomoer was just a copy of the nine-tailed fox and knew limited things. But to a certain extent, it still satisfied Xiaoming's curiosity. During the conversation, they numbered the home star system and the three star systems of Yanhuang as Pangu, Huangdi, Yandi, and Chu. Xiaoming and the replicas in different star systems also used corresponding numbers for easy discussion. The level of black technology in the New Han Kingdom is really terrifying. Space technology, space wars and interstellar colonization have already begun. The clone technology, the complete clone Xiaoming, and the clone-modified body Xiaoming are all cultivated in space. Xiaoming is not just one, but it maintains an order of magnitude, and is constantly being replicated and consumed. There is also memory manipulation. The technology of making and instilling memories is also quite surreal. Xiaoming did not have the angry feeling of "how can you treat my replica like this" at all. These replicas have never had their own consciousness from the beginning, and have always been controlled by artificial intelligence of different levels. There is also a backdoor left for the original natural person to operate. As for whether this kind of cloning technology will be used to do anti-human or immoral behavior, Xiaoming thinks it is probably inevitable. The dark side of human nature. Xiaoming does not intend to think deeply about such a heavy and dark direction. If we refer to the evil deeds that humans have done, Xiaoming feels that no zo no die why you try. It is not surprising that the end of the world comes a few times. According to Maomoer, the scientific community of the New Han Kingdom is still centered on human-centered thinking. Although using artificial intelligence and robots may be cheaper, more practical, simpler, and easier to control. But the real creativity still comes from humans, from human consciousness, and even human souls, things that have not yet been unveiled by science. Some scientists believe that the true meaning of consciousness and the true meaning of the soul should be the ultimate question of the universe. Lucky. If it were not for the existence of this kind of human-centered thinking, Zhang Xiaoming would not have the opportunity to step onto the stage of this grand space opera. Although he is still just an extra. The Royal Academy of Sciences, the military, and various families and forces in the New Han Kingdom. They all have their own goals and plans. Mutual penetration, cooperation, you have me, I have you. This has become an unspoken rule. This also caused many backdoors in both the Yanhuang Rise plan and the Magic Planet game. It is convenient for everyone to arrange hidden chess pieces. Xiaoming's situation can happen because of the existence of these backdoors. At the same time, those second-generation princes and princesses are using these backdoors. There are also their followers, the illegitimate children of major figures, the private armed forces, killers, and death squads of various forces. They are all active everywhere with formal level 4 confidentiality authority and temporary level N confidentiality authority. When Xiaoming used the identification technique on the transport ship, the magic fluctuations generated were already discovered by the fleet's computer system. The staff checked the situation as a routine, and naturally they were protected by the nine-tailed fox. The other party didn't think it was strange at first glance. They had seen it many times and recorded it according to the routine. They were too lazy to even check who it was. Xiaoming was easily ignored. Xiaoming was not interested in those intrigues and power struggles. It was enough to know that he was safe. Life is more than just the present. His real interest is in poetry, games, and the distance, space. The best news Xiaoming learned was, he could add 2 more characters. This is because the consciousness transmission channel of Yandi Galaxy and Chu Galaxy was opened again. Knowing that he could add more characters, Xiaoming specially asked Maomoer to help open the channel of Chu Galaxy. When transmitting, he had to rely on consciousness to operate 7 or 8 space transport machines the size of freight trucks at the same time. After a few seconds of confusion, he gave up and quickly withdrew his consciousness. As long as the channel is opened, it will be fine. Galaxy is a bit difficult. In this way, he can add 2 characters when he enters the game tomorrow. Malmower promised to give him 2 B-level intelligent programs. It was too late at night, Xiaoming left the game cabin, and Malmower swam around Xiaoming in the holographic image of a little white fox. This was Xiaoming's own request, so that Malmower appeared in front of everyone in the form of an electronic pet. He also hopes to talk to the image he can see. Talking to the air is a bit silly and a bit scary. After turning off the lights and lying down, Xiaoming began to sleep, while slowly dispersing the unused superpowers to the surrounding environment. This is a habit that Xiaoming developed more than 10 years ago. He read a fantasy novel that year, and the protagonist, the great magician, had such a habit. Frequently dispersing the surplus magic power to the surrounding environment is a kind of giving back to society. Xiaoming thought it made sense, so he tried to do it himself. It was a bit difficult at the beginning, but it has become a habit after more than 10 years. The little fox Malmower next to him and the little sister Jingjing next door both stretched comfortably at the same time. Yes, Xiaojing's room is next door, and the beds of both of them are next to the same wall. This is the result of Xiaojing's strong request. The little girl is very sensitive to this energy. Tracing the source, she found that it was emitted by her brother like a puppy. She found it by smelling the smell. So she forced her brother to move the bedroom to the next door, and the bed should also be against the wall. Here I have to say a little more about the housing situation in the new Han Kingdom of Pangustar at this point in time. The housing technology at this time is still very interesting. The room is modular, and there are many components, such as bedrooms, kitchens, bathrooms, etc. It can be disassembled, installed, and moved at will. Sometimes even different families can be put together to form a large family. If it is not fun, it can be separated at any time. Xiaoming, as a otaku, has a few friends. Occasionally, he opens his bedroom to live together for 2 days. Although Xiaojing is very popular at school, she never lets her friends bring their rooms over. At most, people come to play occasionally. Of course, whether it is the reassembly of room components, or the combination with other families, or opening to other people's homes, it must be approved by the relevant departments. Ordinary people cannot run around with bedrooms or study rooms at will. Malmower actually does not need to sleep. After leaving the game cabin, he is no longer connected to the main brain nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox's system is not connected to the world's internet. The interaction between the nine-tailed fox and the world's internet must be controlled by several gates. And his copy or his child, the little fox Malmower, survives on Xiaoming's energy. Not only did he escape from the nine-tailed fox, but he also escaped from the control of the alien spacecraft and the new Han Kingdom. Xiaoming was not aware of this. At this time, Malmower was still very weak. There were still few photons that made up him, and his functions in all aspects were very weak. But he had the potential and opportunity to surpass any artificial intelligence. On a quiet night, Malmower, who was born on the first day, floated on Xiaoming's forehead, observing the whole world curiously like a baby. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 22. Early in the morning of June 7, Xiaoming got up from the bed. Xiaojing got up earlier than her brother as usual, bought breakfast and ate together. Xiaojing saw Mao Mao floating around Xiaoming, and she liked it very much instantly. Mao Mao also liked to be intimate with Xiaojing, because Xiaojing had the most special energy. In fact, it was higher than Xiaoming in terms of concentration. Mao Mao of course couldn't give it to Xiaojing, so she had to settle for the second best and quickly bought an electronic pet online to comfort her sister. Xiaojing had never cared when she saw other people had electronic pets. It was only because Xiaoming had Mao Mao that she wanted one too. This was a pit she dug for herself, and Xiaoming had to fill it with tears. He looked at the debt in his credit card and his eyes lit up. It's not right, how come there are so many more savings suddenly? But he didn't say anything. After buying an electronic pet for his sister, he went back to the room and asked Mao Mao. Mao Mao told him that this was his salary. After his confidentiality level was raised, the nine-tailed fox transferred his work relationship to the Royal Research Institute and became a senior tester. He also had a good salary. The nine-tailed fox even adjusted his working hours a few months earlier, so he got back pay. It was enough to pay off the debt and there was still some surplus. In fact, Xiaoming's replicas in the worlds also had salaries, but that was not his, and it was still in the replica's own account. He couldn't take it out, and he didn't dare to take it. It was only when his consciousness was transmitted, it was okay to use it. Now, Xiaoming's blood, which had not been easily mustered, cooled down again. When he was in debt, Xiaoming still thought about working hard and trying to make some money in the game to pay off his debts. I believe that with his own ability as a foundation, this is not a difficult task. Now that the debt is gone, Xiaoming's spirit has been deflated. It seems that the main brain is also helping him to continue to be a salted fish. Xiaoming entered the personal space. It was still early before the game started. He was going to go to Quafu World for class first. Learn some knowledge about the new galaxy. Before going, Mao Mao first updated the new memories of the end worlds to Xiaoming's consciousness. This is the original program. It was an accident that it was not done yesterday, and it will still be operated according to the program in the future. There is no problem with updating the memory of the Chu world. No. Has gained some combat experience. No major events have happened to No. Xiaoming transferred his consciousness to Xiaoming No. It has just been a short time since breakfast here, and all members of the 33rd team are gathered in the conference room waiting for class. Stand at attention. Salute. At ease. Captain Zhou Bin went through the fixed process. He emphasized again that the team members should seriously study all kinds of knowledge about the Yellow Emperor Galaxy, which will definitely be used. Then the video teaching began. The star Huangdi in the Yellow Emperor Galaxy is also a yellow dwarf star, not much different from the Sun at home. There are 3 planets in the inner star system, from the inside to the outside: Huangdi Planet No, Huangdi Planet No, and Quafu. Quafu was previously only called Huangdi Planet No. It was officially named Quafu after it was discovered that it could be colonized and developed. Further out is Lizu, which is slightly smaller than Jupiter at home. Outside Lizu is a large and chaotic area with a large number of solid stars, some of which are larger than Quafu. Unfortunately, none of them can clear an orbit. So they can only be considered dwarf planets. Further out is another huge gas planet. It is only about half the size of Lizu. It forms a situation where there is an ultra-wide asteroid belt between 2 huge planets. These astronomical knowledge can be roughly understood. The team members mainly need to learn about Quafu. Quafu's mass and volume are similar to Pangu, and the gravitational acceleration is almost the same. The air composition is also similar. So humans can survive on the surface without protection. Having said that, the military only allowed people to survive without protection after long-term testing. And the more realistic situation is that the test is still in progress, and these replicas are here to be guinea pigs. The land and ocean on the surface of Quafu account for about half each. The long years have also evolved into a magnificent and complex biological system. The life here is carbon-based, just like Pangu. Many species give people a very fantastic feeling. Xiaoming knows that this is probably caused by the magic energy in this world. Unlike Pangu, Quafu does not have a satellite as big as the moon. There are only 2 very small satellites, Quafu I and Quafu II. Quafu's revolution period is more than 400 Pangu days, and its rotation is only equivalent to half a Pangu day. I'm afraid it will take a while for everyone to adapt. This is still good, at most 2 days as a day. If Quafu's rotation is 18.36 hours or something like that, it would be quite difficult to adapt. Xiaoming studied the knowledge about Quafu very seriously. Especially the situation of animals and plants here. Which ones can be eaten and which ones cannot. Which ones are poisonous and which ones are non-toxic. Which ones are very aggressive and which ones are very docile. This fantastic biological world is not easy to judge according to Pangu's experience. Now we know very little about these creatures. This is also one of the main tasks of Team 33 in the future. The course ended when Xiaoming was still in high spirits. Some team members left quickly to play games. Many team members gathered in groups to discuss their experience of the game. Xiaoming only said a few words, mainly listening to what everyone else was saying. No one mentioned the second character. It seems that most people don't know, and those who know probably won't say it. The main thing they talked about was the characteristics of each race, the difficulty of the game, and their respective professions. Only then did Xiaoming discover that there were many alchemists. He was not lucky at all. He was happy for nothing. He also heard a lot of good tips and ideas during the chat. There are still some game experts in the team. Unfortunately, none of his close friends are from the same town as him. Xiaoming also concealed the fact that he became a worshipper of the Huo family, which was more hateful. Brother Ming, it seems that you did some research on the previous game of this game, that is, the Hero Continent. What do you think? Li Lu suddenly asked. Yes, when I was 18 years old, I did play an old game for a while, and the Hero Continent was one of them. I have almost forgotten my ideas back then. And the essence of this game is completely different. Xiaoming was still thinking about it when someone came over. You'd better not use your previous gaming experience to play Magic Planet. Many settings of this game are brand new. You should still treat it as a brand new world to explore. That's the fun of the game. Several people turned their heads and saluted immediately. Instructor. At ease, Li Na returned the salute and pressed her hand lightly, signaling them to relax. Many monsters in this game are similar to some creatures on Quafu. This is to help you adapt to the new planet. Some creatures on the new planet do emit energy attacks similar to magic. We are still studying how to use this energy. But you can rest assured that there are few dangers on Quafu. The safety of the camp is still guaranteed. The creatures on Quafu can use magic? Everyone was immediately interested. They chatted with the instructor enthusiastically. The instructor was also very friendly and answered all the questions. Xiaoming learned a lot from him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 23. After some encouragement from instructor Li Na, several people also knew that the magic and skills in the game can be used in reality. This requires everyone to practice more in the game. Xiaoming thought that only he knew something yesterday, but this morning the instructor broke it out. The sense of superiority was burst like a soap bubble. He didn't know that the instructor had no choice. The fleet sent an order that someone on the ship had awakened magic ability. Although it is very likely that it is a hidden player of a certain force. But it is not ruled out that it is a talented ordinary team member. So the order was issued to spread the things that will be announced in a few days in advance. It is also holding a glimmer of hope. If it is an ordinary team member who awakens magic, I hope he will not be afraid and report directly to the captain or instructor. If it was before, Xiaoming would have reported it. Now he is also a regular person, but it is not necessary. It doesn't matter if he is discovered. After the instructor left, several team members couldn't sit still. They all went to practice magic and skills in the game. Xiaoming also went back to the warehouse with everyone and entered the game warehouse. In the personal space, Mao Moer suggested that Xiaoming log in to the third and fourth characters first. Before logging in, he also downloaded a set of multi-threaded operation experience to his consciousness. This is similar to the software download for learning various skills in the movie The Matrix. They can all be directly instilled into the consciousness. It's just that you don't need to insert those tubes in the game cabin. The downloaded skills need a lot of practice to become familiar and consolidated. Otherwise, not to mention the unfamiliarity, you will slowly forget them. The soldiers and creatures of the Yan Emperor Galaxy will not take the initiative to play games. They are actually playing passively, but they don't know it. The Chu Galaxy only has remote-controlled machines, just a pile of metal, and it is even more impossible to play games. Why do the third and fourth characters exist? The game characters of the clones of the Huangdi Galaxy are not their original second characters. Xiaoming misunderstood here. This misunderstanding is also influenced by the nine-tailed fox. In fact, the second, third, and fourth characters are already set up in the game. If you play normally, it will take a while before the player can turn on these functions. There can even be more characters and functions. But most of them are just backup programs, and some may never be used. Because of the needs of special groups, the game has set up special benefits and channels. Let these people open multiple characters earlier. You can also go to the Yanhuang 3-star system through the transmission channels corresponding to these characters for a travel out of the solar system. The manpower required for the Yanhuang Rise plan is almost unlimited. How much labor and combat power can be transported by transportation alone? Remote control is the main solution. And remote control requires the help of black technology quantum communication. This is also where the new Han Kingdom mainly relies on the main brain nine-tailed fox. Only he has such a powerful quantum communication device. Only he can maintain these devices. In addition to those necessary personnel, some second-generation officials, second-generation rich, and even first-generation people come to use this ready-made backdoor to make themselves play more happily in the game, which is a matter of course. However, Magic Planet is not a game that can be completed in one go. The main brain and the official must have some restrictions on this. Normal players can unlock the second character at level 2, the third character at level 5 by completing a task, and the fourth character has a small chance of being unlocked at level 9-10. The second character of the special group can be obtained at the beginning of the game, and the others are moved up in order. The third character must be level 2, the fourth character must be level 5, and so on. As an employee of the main brain, Xiaoming actually has no special restrictions. But too many characters can easily be discovered by other monitoring systems. Even in the game, the nine-tailed fox cannot cover the sky with one hand. So on the surface, Xiaoming is still consistent with the special group. Try not to concentrate the characters. There is no point in opening too many small accounts. After Xiaoming logged into the third character, he was amazed. This character turned out to be a sea tribe Naga that has not been heard of in the game yet. The birthplace is not with the explorers, but in a sea tribe town on the seabed. Aren't Nagas female? How can only females reproduce? Xiaoming joked with himself. Start to check the situation of the characters. Now the character is just a first level 2 armed Naga swordsman, but it is a melee profession. The lower body is similar to a snake tail, which is a bit heavy. Considering that Naga will be upgraded to 4 arms and 6 arms in the future, I don't know how to operate it in the future. Let's go to the profession hall first. Xiaoming controls the Naga just named Diver. He searches all the way and looks at the scenery on the seabed all the way. It feels different. The town on the surface is flat, and the town on the seabed is three-dimensional. Xiaoming is really not used to the extension up and down, left and right, and is a little confused. The tail wagging action feels very awkward. Fortunately, the system has automatic correction. If you really rely on yourself to swim, you can probably play in the same place for half a day. Grey Rock Town is a town built between grey rocks on the seabed, as the name suggests. It stands to reason that the light of stars cannot penetrate to the deep seabed. But in games, players must be able to see clearly. And it is not easy to make infrared rays, which is not good looking. So I had to forcefully explain that the light penetrated through magic to illuminate the seabed. The same light as the upper layer. The scenery of the underwater town is just like in the cartoon, very beautiful. Everything, the buildings, the corals, the fish, are colorful and bright. Xiao Ming thought it was probably a picture taken from a cartoon. I don't know if these have prototypes in the Yanhuang 3-star systems. Soon Xiao Ming figured out his advantage. The funds and private warehouses were common between different characters. In other words, Xiao Ming can completely engage in purchasing agency business under the sea and communicate with the ground. I guess you can make a lot of money. It is also because of this characteristic that Xiao Ming did not choose to match particularly special skills when choosing a career in life. Instead, he chose skills that required support from both land and sea. It is very difficult for players who are purely from the sea tribe to practice. But are there really any players playing a hidden race like the sea tribe now? After choosing a life occupation and certain strengthening, the diver's situation is as follows. Character name, Diver. Race, Sea Naga. Gender, male. Combat profession, Naga swordsman, level 1. Grade, 1/20th. Personal template. Life, 120, body *15, add 40, equipment. Vigor, 120, strength and body, *7.5, add 40, equipment. Mana, 32, essence *8, add 20, equipment. Strength, 8. Constitution, 8. Agility, 6. Intelligence, 4. Spirit, 4. Equipment, excellent Sea Warrior suit, excellent Naga Warrior double swords. Excellent Sea Warrior suit, health add 40, strength add 40, mana add 20. Excellent Naga Warrior dual swords, physical attack add 20. Mercenary, 0/4. Backpack, 50 cells, omitted. Growth, for every 5 levels, strength and constitution are add 2, agility add 1.5, intelligence and spirit add 1, free attribute points add 1, and mercenary soldiers add 1. Automatic recovery, life is restored per minute, 5, vigor is restored per minute, 5, mana is restored 2.5 per minute. Life template. Life occupation 1, High Clan Blacksmith, Trainee. Skill, Elementary Sea Forging Technique, C. Elementary Sea Forging, consume corresponding materials, C. Energy and mana to forge corresponding equipment according to blueprints, C. Skill range is 5 meters. Forging efficiency, results, and consumption depend on the blueprint and the level of the forging technique. Drawings learned, none. Life occupation 2, Surface Scholar, Trainee. Skill, Elementary Surface Knowledge, passive. Special Life Skills, Elementary Sea and Land Combined Forging Skills. Elementary Sea Land Combined Forging Technique, you can use materials from the seabed or land to replace each other for equipment forging. There is a high probability of obtaining equipment with slightly improved attributes, a small probability of forging failure, and a very small probability of obtaining equipment with special attributes. Note, if the material substitution is inappropriate, forging will fail. Combat template. Physical attack, 16, strength *2, add 20, equipment. Physical defense, 14, physique and sensitivity, *1. Magic attack, 6, wisdom *1.5. Magic Defense, 4, Intelligence and Essence, *0.5. Skill. Elementary Continuous Slash, consume 10 points of energy to launch 2 attacks in quick succession. Each attack power is 80% of normal attack. Cool down for 20 seconds. Primary Parry, consume 5 points of vigor and use the Naga Saber to parry the enemy's physical attack. There is a 60% chance of completely blocking the attack, a 25% chance of only receiving half the damage, and a 15% chance of not blocking it. Cool down for 20 seconds. Strategy Template, not enabled. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 24. The 2B level intelligent programs that Mao promised have already arrived. They are called Xiao Saner and Xiao Sier. Haha, why do I suddenly have the illusion that I am a rich man? Zhang Xiaoming handed the diver to Xiao Saner for management. Let him open the map first. Return to the personal space and log in to the 4th character. As a result, the surprise this time is even greater. The 4th character was born directly on the strategic map. This character is a necromancer, so let's call him the Teller of the Dead. The tactical level is still level 1, level 1. There is no life profession, but the strategic template is actually enabled. This is the first time Xiaoming has seen what the strategic template looks like. The hero's perspective on the strategic map is very different. The adventure map is a personal perspective, and this is similar to the perspective of God or the map. You can see your own character, the back of the head, your own soldiers around the character, the environment around the entire army, and the larger range of war fog. Your own character is in the center of the map. The character is now in a small temple of the dead. It is also a safe zone on the strategic map. You can log in or out of the game, and you can also transfer between the strategic map and the adventure map. Xiaoming quickly exited to his personal space and consulted Maomoer. Is there something wrong with the game? Maomoer told him that normal players must first upgrade to level 2 and then transfer to become heroes, and then belong to a faction, before they can use the faction's temple or corresponding facilities to transfer to the strategic map to play the strategic mode. But there are always some people with high positions and power who don't want to go through so much trouble, and the main brain nine-tailed fox has to give them higher preferential treatment. These must be really very high-ranking and powerful. Their second character will directly become a hero of strategic level 0, and automatically belong to a small faction of their own. Born directly on the strategic map. There are no more than 20 people in total, scattered in the huge strategic map, and it is unlikely to meet for a long time. As a confidant of the nine-tailed fox, sort of, Xiaoming naturally has the best treatment. So his 4th character got this opportunity to become a hero directly. In the early stage, the troops were scarce, and there were no resources from the adventure map to support it. It was actually not easy to mix on the strategic map. The battle on the strategic map also requires multi-threaded operation in consciousness, which is a bit difficult for professional players, and it is even more difficult for ordinary players to get started. Combined with the situation of the Chu galaxy, space battles seem to require multi-threaded operation. That's why Maomoer downloaded an experience for Xiaoming in advance. Let Xiaoming get started more easily. Just when Xiaoming was full of energy and was about to enter the strategic map, the explorer received a message from Qin Kaiyang of the Tang dynasty. Invited him to a tea house for tea meeting. Xiaoming really didn't want to go, because he had a lot of things on hand. But thinking about it, it's not good not to go, and he agreed yesterday. So he logged into the Explorer and went to the meeting place with the researchers and subordinates. Wushan town is not very big, and it arrived quickly. Many people who did the escort mission together yesterday also came. These professional players should be online at this time. Except for those who don't want to participate, they all came. After chatting for a while, Xiaoming finally understood that this was a guild meeting to divide the spoils. The battle last night was obviously a prelude to a large-scale task. Several guilds still hope that everyone will not waste their energy. For such a big task, no one needs to eat alone, and no one can eat it alone. So Datang and other guilds hope that the guilds and players who want to develop this task can unite and develop together to improve the completion rate of the task. For the guilds and players who are willing to withdraw from the task, others will also give some symbolic compensation to prevent them from deliberately making trouble. Those who take money and still make trouble will not be able to mix well in the professional circle in the future. Xiaoming thought carefully for a while and found that if he is willing to join this alliance, he can completely lead the task. Because his status as a Huo family worshipper is temporarily the highest among all the players here, he can completely develop an angle from the Huo family to do this task. But considering that he has no manpower, it is a bit incapable to do such a big task, and he can't compete with these guilds. And the most important thing is that he has a lot of things to do and has no time to invest in such a task. So he gave up. Datang Qin Qian couldn't help but sigh, how rich and inhumane. This kind of task that can obviously gain political status capital, the other guild actually doesn't look down on it at all. How rich is this? Although they don't want any compensation, we have to be sensible. So several guilds discussed and gave a strategic magic skill book Stone Skin to the explorer. This gift was carefully selected. Things that are useful in the short term are not valuable, and they may not be appreciated by the rich. Although strategic magic is only level 1, it is very rare. Explorers will definitely use it after they become heroes. This gift is not cheap at all. And the large-scale task that the guild players are going to develop is related to the military. It is almost easy to earn a few similar items. They are not losing much. This kind of large-scale task is also very time-consuming. When you get the reward for the first time, you are probably about to become a hero. It's just right to get the reward and enter the strategic map. This kind of task is also relatively common, mainly for those masters to get some advantages on the strategic map in the early stage. Xiaoming was also depressed for a while. He probably guessed the thoughts of these guilds. He really didn't mind, as long as the other party gave him some money. Xiaoming wanted to be a trader and just lacked capital. But it's not easy to say so. Fortunately, magic will be used soon. Just smiled and accepted it. Qin Qian and the others were all happy when they saw the explorer accept the gift, which meant that the other party would not snatch the task and was unlikely to destroy the task, and everyone was happy. Others still had to continue to discuss the details of the cooperation. Although Xiaoming was interested in understanding how the guild developed the task, it was really difficult to stay any longer. So he stood up and said goodbye and left. I don't want to take the daily professional tasks for the time being, because the heroes on the strategic map are still waiting. I'd better go to Huo's shop first. After all, I have to do international trade, so I'll take a look at the market first. Came to Huo's 1,000 goods. Shopkeeper Huo was not there, which was reasonable. It was estimated that he was going to deal with the follow-up of the attack by the orc army last night. As a D-level worshipper, Xiaoming directly found other sitting shopkeepers, browsed the task list and supply list, and learned about the situation of the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce tasks and daily professional tasks are both camp tasks. Camp tasks are that players need to make some basic contributions to their own camps. After completing them, players can take free tasks within the camp. The Chamber of Commerce is also a subsidiary force in the camp. Completing a certain number of Chamber of Commerce tasks is also enough to contribute to the camp. You can also take free tasks. Of course, after completing the Chamber of Commerce tasks, players can still do professional daily tasks. The Chamber of Commerce tasks have a slightly higher priority, and 5 tasks a day are enough. You can also choose freely, and you don't have to take all 5 at once. But there are still penalties for taking tasks and not completing them. Smacking his lips, Xiaoming was quite disappointed. He really wanted to take the task of buying seabed resources at a high price, which was the most suitable for him, but unfortunately there was no such task. He couldn't get such a high-level task. In a small place like Wushan Town, the seabed resources are a bit too high level. Not only are they priceless, but they are also unmarketable. Not only are there no places to buy them, but there are also no places to sell them. Xiaoming also specially took out a level 1 pearl, which is a relatively common material on the seabed. He wanted to try his luck, and scared the shopkeeper. But he didn't recognize it. Xiaoming was so depressed that he almost spit out a mouthful of blood. This NPC is too low in intelligence, which is infuriating. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 25. Since international trade is not possible for the time being, Xiaoming had to arrange for Xiao Er to control the explorer and first accept some ordinary tasks of purchasing goods from the Chamber of Commerce. Then he went to run the map and do tasks by the way. One of the tasks was entrusted to the researcher, which was a task to make 10 level 1 puppets. After returning home with the materials, the researcher first used the fine research technique on the level 1 infantry wooden puppet blueprint to gain some manufacturing experience, and then learn the blueprint. Xiaoming then strengthened all his equipment, especially the set of tools he bought. After strengthening, the success rate of making puppets increased by 20%. Xiao Si was arranged to take over the researcher's puppet making at home. Whether it is a mercenary or a puppet, it cannot be transferred without the characters meeting each other, so there is no way to increase the strength of the dead. But there is an exception, that is the follower Han Dong. His nature is more like an independent hero. So the explorer can let Han Dong follow another character of his like outsourcing work and participate in battle upgrades. After completing the task, he will return to the explorer. So Han Dong's affiliation was temporarily transferred to the dead. Some people may ask, aren't the undead and humans mortal enemies? This is roughly correct. But there are always exceptions. In non-war periods, the two sides still have some official exchanges. Even in war, there are some secret exchanges. And both sides have traitors. Sometimes, some small forces on both sides will unite with each other. In addition, there are those independent neutral forces. The relationship between them is intertwined. The White Fang Chamber of Commerce to which the deceased belongs and the Huo Chamber of Commerce to which the explorer belongs are business allies, mainly for mutual exchange. The high-level officials of both human and undead sides turned a blind eye to this, and many commodities had to be purchased by them. Since ancient times, business has not been blocked by war. There are also many chambers of commerce like this. The mastermind arranged Xiaoming's fourth character as a business ally to facilitate Xiaoming's operation. So Han Dong, the future crusader of light, can follow an undead wizard to the strategic map to fight monsters and upgrade. The protagonist switches to the dead teller and teleports back to the adventure map. The dead teller's troops will stay at the temple on the strategic map. This teleport is free and has a cooldown of 30 minutes. The settlement where the dead teller is located is no longer a small town, but a small city of the undead, Ash City. There are some preparations to be done before the war. The dead teller went to the professional guild and the store. He took the job, bought the things he needed, and strengthened the things he needed. After the set of processes, the personal panel of the dead teller is as follows. Role name, Dead Teller. Race, Undead Skeleton. Race talent, Bone Body, Passive. Bone Body, 50% chance to make small long-range physical attacks unable to hit. Gender, Male. Combat Occupation, Necromancer, Level 1. Level, 1/20th. Personal Template. Life, 30, Body asterisk 10, add 20, equipment. Strength, 30, strength and body, asterisk 5, add 20, equipment. Mana, 100, essence asterisk 12.5, add 30, equipment. Death breath, 0/100, upper limit determined by occupation and level. Strength, 3. Constitution, 3. Agility, 3. Intelligence, 8. Spirit, 8. Equipment, excellent necromancer set, excellent necromancer staff. Excellent necromancer set, life add 20, strength add 20, mana add 30. Excellent necromancer staff, magic attack add 20. Mercenary, 0/6. Backpack, 50 grids, omitted. Growth, every 5 levels of strength, constitution and agility add 1 each, intelligence and spirit add 2 each, free attribute points add 1, and can hire soldiers add 1. Automatic recovery, life is restored by 2 per minute, strength is restored by 2 per minute, and mana is restored by 5 per minute. Death breath, consume 10 per day. Life template. Life occupation 1, undead corruptor, apprentice. Skill, primary corruption. Primary corruption, consume mana to corrupt flesh and blood corpses, and obtain death breath and some skeletons. Consumption and harvest depend on the level of the corpse and skill. Life occupation 2, undead aura watcher, apprentice. Skill, primary aura watcher. Primary aura watcher, consume 5 mana to judge the concentration of death breath around. Special life skill, primary death harvest. Primary death harvest, consume mana to use on corpses or graves, no need to dig graves, with a high probability of harvesting death breath and some skeletons, a small probability of harvesting a small amount of items, and a very small probability of harvesting undead soldiers. Battle template. Physical attack, 3, strength asterisk 1. Physical defense, 3, physical and agility, asterisk 0.5. Magic attack, 16, intelligence asterisk 2, add 20, equipment. Magic defense, 8, intelligence and precision, asterisk 0.5. Skills. Primary summoning skeletons, consume 10 bones, 10 mana, and 10 breath of death, and summon a 0-1 level skeleton soldier to become your own mercenary. Skill release range, 5 meters. Low probability of summoning a first level skeleton soldier. Primary bone repair, consume bones and mana to repair damaged skeletal soldiers. After repair, some attributes of the soldiers may be reduced. Consumption depends on different soldiers. Soldiers with more than 70% damage cannot be repaired. Release range, 5 meters. Primary meditation, sit quietly and use the skill, mana recovery add 5 per minute, based on normal recovery. Strength consumption per minute 2. Strategic template. Hero, dead announcer. Race, undead skeleton. Affiliation, White Fang Chamber of Commerce. Strategic occupation, undead wizard. Level, 0th level 0, apprentice. Troops, skeletons 20, skeletons 13, ghosts asterisk 2, dead announcer. Mobility, 200/200. Command, 41/100. Number of controllable troops, 4/4. Strategic mana, 20, knowledge asterisk 10. Attack, 1. Defense, 0. Strength, 2. Knowledge, 2. Growth, every 5 levels, random attribute add 1, command add 100, professional talent add 1, choose one of 2. Every 10 levels, free attribute add 1, action limit add 50, number of troops add 1. Every level, racial talent add 1, choose one of 3, command add 100, action limit add 100, number of troops add 1. Automatic recovery, every 30 minutes, mana recovery 1, action recovery 10. Racial talent, bone body, passive. Bone body, 50% chance to make ranged small physical attacks unable to hit. Professional talent, none. Strategic skill, stone skin. Stone skin, consume 5 mana, select troops defense add 3, speed -1. Duration 2, strength *1, minutes. Strategic equipment, none. Strategic treasure, none. War machinery, none. Logistics backpack, 50, omitted. There are not many surprises in combat profession and life profession. The bone body talent is a built-in talent of the skeleton series, that is, the bow and arrow have a chance to pass through the bone gap. Death breath is similar to the hunger of human players. It is consumed by undead players every day, and it also has many uses. The special life skill Death Harvest generated by professional matching is a surprise, which will be of great help to the dead. Xiaoming activated the skill in advance to meet the matching degree. This skill does not emphasize that it cannot be used repeatedly. In other words, a cemetery may be harvested regularly. This is a skill with long-term development. What needs the most attention at the moment is the strategic template. Xiaoming, who is waiting for the teleportation cooldown in the temple, is studying it carefully. The initial troops and attributes are probably about the same. The hero character is also in the team formation, which means that the hero will also stand on the battlefield. Then there is a possibility of being beheaded by the enemy's surprise attack. Although the hero will not be defeated after death, the bonus to the team will be gone, and resources will be spent to revive in the temple. How to protect the hero is also one of the key points of the war. The deceased is a trainee hero of level 0, no wonder he has not opened the exclusive talent of the undead race soul summoning. With this talent, the troops of the undead race can grow like a snowball. Of course, the hero's commander value is also a restriction on the hero. The army within the commander value can get the hero's full attribute bonus and is completely commanded by the hero. The more the troops exceed the commander, the lower the bonus, the more difficult it is to command, and it is even possible to fall behind and escape continuously. If it exceeds too much, it will also affect the troops within the commander value. This is also a reminder for players not to be too greedy. Wear a hat as big as your head. The resources and troops of the adventure map can be transferred to the strategic map with restrictions. The quantity is determined by the hero rank of the character. The transfer costs the corresponding gold coins. Xiaoming of course transferred various materials to the strategic map. What Xiaoming hopes most is to equip the skeleton soldiers with long-range weapons on the strategic map. It will turn a black chicken into a phoenix in an instant. There are also some interesting ideas that can be tested. When the 33 team chatted, Xiaoming was also inspired a lot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 26. Han Dong also moved over when he came to the strategic map. As a follower, he can be placed in any unit under the command of the dead. Unfortunately, he is now only a level 0, level 3 human trainee infantryman, and can't play any role. He can only be an ordinary infantryman, and his combat effectiveness is not as good as that of the skeleton soldiers. The command power occupied by the soldiers follows the rank. Level 0-1 requires 1 point of command power, level 2 requires 2 points, level 3 requires 4 points, and so on, and Han Dong is the same for the time being. What Xiaoming needs to do is to first rectify the equipment of his own legion. Due to insufficient favorability, the dead can't strengthen Han Dong's equipment. After many experiments, it was finally decided. And he found an interesting thing. He can directly use superpowers to strengthen the skeleton soldiers, but not the ghosts. In the past, the explorers' mercenaries could not be strengthened. Is it because the skeleton soldiers are made of bones? Then can puppets also be strengthened? They are all non-living soldiers, and it is worth a try. In the end, it was decided that the main force of the battle would be the crossbow skeleton soldiers and the gun and shield skeleton soldiers. The crossbow skeleton soldiers are naturally long-range soldiers, using strong crossbows made of bones and 12 bone arrows. The spear and shield skeleton soldiers are semi-long-range defensive soldiers, using bone pistols and bone shields for close combat, carrying 4 bone javelins, and can attack from a medium distance, and close combat after the enemy gets close. These two are not the strongest but the most suitable for mass production, consuming only a little material skeleton and a little superpower. The javelins and arrows used by the skeleton soldiers are replenished with the bones of the enemy's corpses after cleaning the battlefield after the battle. This is the setting of the game, and other long-range soldiers will also replenish arrows after the battle. If players have to worry about replenishing such consumables, it is really a lot of trouble. Unexpectedly, these two soldiers can be organized into the same unit, and several other experimental products can also be organized together with them, and even the heroes can be organized together. This shows that the same type of soldiers can be organized into the same unit. These are all skeletons. With long-range soldiers, Xiao Ming is more confident. Many melee enemies can be easily defeated. Before setting off, Xiao Ming still divided the skeleton soldiers into 2 teams, the crossbow skeleton soldiers and the dead informers into 1 team. Xiao Ming must have made a crossbow for the hero, a total of 21 units. The other skeleton soldiers were divided into a team of 10. Some were damaged during the test. The 2 ghosts were divided into 2 teams. The ghost is a level 3 soldier of the undead race. Its advantages are 50% chance to dodge physical attacks, can fly, and replenish health every minute. Its health, attack, and defense attributes are slightly worse than those of the same level soldiers. After the army was reorganized, Xiao Ming started the battle on the strategic map with full confidence. Leaving the Temple of the Dead, Xiao Ming set off along the main road, hoping to find a village or something like that as a base. The sky was gray. Although there were no clouds to block the sun, the air here was filled with dust, which was probably volatilized into the air after the bones decayed. The environment looked very desolate. Although there were some trees alive, these trees were just rotten trees unique to the undead landscape. This tree has almost no leaves, but all kinds of twisted branches stretching in all directions. Its wood contains some bones and corpses, which not only enhances its toughness and strength, but also makes it more conductive to mana, making it a special material. Not only the undead, but other races also have a need for it. Rotten and broken corpses and broken bones can be seen everywhere. Xiao Ming thought he could use some life skills, corruption, and death harvest. It turned out that most of them were background plates. There was a clear difference between the corpses that could use skills and the background plates. Xiao Ming soon learned to distinguish. Compared with other heroes who could only search for corpses simply, Xiao Ming was ruthless. First search, then a death harvest, and finally a corruption. After this set of skills, the corpses were completely gone. Even if Xiao Ming couldn't find anything, he could get some death breath and skeleton materials. Using life skills still consumes the strength and mana of the hero's battle panel. Not the mana of the strategic panel. After marching for a while, Xiao Ming picked up 2 piles of gold coins, some scattered strategic resources, and a treasure chest. A total of 3,100 gold coins were obtained, and there were also several of each strategic resource. It's good to enter the strategic map early. I didn't save 200 gold coins yesterday, but I saved 3,000 in less than an hour. In addition, I encountered an abandoned old truck with nothing in it. After Xiao Ming repaired it with his superpowers, he got a first-level strategic treasure truck, which took effect when placed in the strategic backpack. With it, the hero doesn't have to go to his resource production area every time to collect resources. The resources produced by the resource production area bound to the truck will go directly into the logistics backpack of the defendant. Up to 4 can be bound. In addition, 7 or 8 corpses were encountered, most of which had nothing, and the defendants recycled them as resources. One of them got a dilapidated iron armor, which can increase the defense of the soldier's equipment in the strategic map. Xiaoming repaired it and equipped a special melee skeleton soldier. Ghosts can't wear iron armor. Another corpse was searched for a treasure that is very easy for the undead to obtain, the undead amulet, which increases the necromancy by 5%. The increase is just better than nothing. The deceased does not have the talent for necromancy now, so it cannot be used for the time being. But it is also quite important because it is a component of the combination treasure Ghost King Cloak. The special effect of the Ghost King Cloak is very strong. After the battle, the undead clan summons the souls of the first-level skeleton soldiers. After the Ghost King Cloak is blessed, some of the souls summoned will be promoted to high-level undead soldiers according to the level of the hero's summoning technique. This is different from the original. If the player's summoning technique is elementary, the souls summoned are a large number of first-level skeleton soldiers and a few second-level zombies. Intermediate summoning technique, a large number of skeleton soldiers, a small number of zombies, and a few third-level ghosts. Advanced summoning technique, a large number of skeleton soldiers, some zombies, a small number of ghosts, and a few fourth-level vampires. And so on. Of course, it also depends on whether the total number of flesh and blood enemies eliminated is large enough. The fewer the total number, the fewer the types of soldiers summoned, and the higher the level, the fewer. The Ghost King Cloak is almost the core treasure of the undead clan. It is also easier to combine than other combination treasures. Zhang Xiaoming has always been looking forward to getting a component of a combination treasure. Let's try what effect it is to use superpowers on component treasures. The results of the experiment are gratifying. This single component has the special effect after the combination, and only the number of promotions is 1/4 of the complete combination treasure. Xiaoming is super satisfied with this. Combination treasures are something that professional unions cannot do for quite some time. Xiaoming can make the components play some of the effects of the combination treasures. This is too strong. It seems that collecting components of various combination treasures will be the focus of Xiaoming's next game. On the way, I encountered an evil temple. After visiting it, I got 12 skeleton soldiers for free and strengthened them into strong crossbow skeleton soldiers. A small piece of fog was explored. The first battle also ushered in a group of skeleton soldiers blocking the intersection ahead, about a dozen. The dead tried to launch an attack, hoping to surrender the opponent with the powerful long range and the advantages of the same race. The hope was dashed. The opponent was afraid of your force and chose to escape. Xiaoming naturally chose to chase. The pursuit was successful and entered the combat state. The troops that failed to escape need to waste some time to turn around. Before turning around, there is a 20% bonus to their attacks. It made no difference to Xiaoming. With only 3 rounds of long-range shooting from 32 powerful crossbow skeleton soldiers, all 13 enemy skeleton soldiers died. The hero reports the dead and gains 65 strategic experience points. 30 tactical experience points. The commanded troops gain 65 experience points which can be distributed. Xiaoming naturally distributed them all to his follower Han Dong. It is convenient on the strategic map. Han Dong can also share experience points without taking action, which is very different from the adventure map. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 27. After opening the passage, Zhang Xiaoming continued to pick up and run the house. The territory that no player has ever visited means that there is goods. I picked up a lot of gold coins and resources along the way. Encounter a wisdom stone and get 250 strategic experience to level up. Han Dong also gained 250 tactical experience and was promoted to a level. Encountering the outdoor military building cemetery, I spent 800 gold coins to recruit 8 level 2 zombies. Zombies are a huge improvement over the previous game. The defense and life have been improved, and it is no longer considered a useless unit, but an ordinary human shield. It's a pity that the cemetery cannot be harvested. In addition, it is much better to encounter a wild building warrior's tomb. Search and get 1 treasure telescope, vision add 1. You can perform death harvest in the tomb of warriors and get the token tattered sachet. At the same time, information was obtained that the person buried in the tomb was originally a human swordsman. After death, he was eroded by the breath of death and became a black warrior and left. Xiaoming tried to repair the sachet, but failed. It seems to have another purpose. Visit the windmill and get a few more mercury mines. With a variety of minerals on hand, Xiaoming noticed that mineral resources are also divided into different levels. Most of the mines I got were level 1 mines, and the mercury I just bought included a level 2 mine. Currently, the informant's office is standing at the sign in front of the 3-way intersection. The lower left is the direction where the smell of death is stronger. If there are villages or towns, it may be over there. At the end of the lower right field of view, you can vaguely see the corner of a wild building, which looks like a tavern. If it weren't for the telescope that increased the field of view, we wouldn't be able to see it. Xiaoming hesitated for a moment and decided to bet on the tavern on the lower right. The tavern can recruit heroes. Because being able to see the tavern is hard won, I prefer to go to the tavern. Is this human nature? After sweeping up a corpse, Xiaoming came to the tavern and regretted it. This tavern has been abandoned for a long time. Standing there in desolation, with a half-door panel shaking in the wind, it seemed to be mocking him for wasting his efforts. I still don't believe it. Xiaoming was so angry that he took out all the wood strategic resources in his hand and used his superpower. It consumed a lot of mental energy and 8 wood units. The tavern was actually restored. It's more expensive than building a new one. I'm really speechless. Xiaoming excitedly led his troops into the tavern, but there was no one in the tavern. Is it necessary to play tricks on people like this? Xiaoming is so angry. Calm, 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 tranquil, calm. After chanting silently for a while, Xiaoming realized that there was something wrong with his mentality and quickly calmed down. A person's IQ is 0 for at least 5 minutes every day. Be careful not to be overjoyed, angry, or excited when making decisions. Decisions made at this time are often wrong. Isn't it just that I saw it wrong? It's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of action. There's no need to be impulsive. Are you being too smooth? Can't even accept this? A little loss is a trivial matter, but having brain damage is a big deal. Although games are not real life, it doesn't matter if you are a little willful and impulsive. However, Xiaoming still feels that this willfulness and impulsiveness should also be the result of calm choices. That is, when making a decision, you should know that the choice you make is willful and impulsive, but you still decide to make it. It's not that you don't know that you are impulsive and just do it as soon as your brain gets hot. People should think twice before they act. Even if they are playing games, they should at least think twice before acting. Seeing that more than half of his mobility was consumed, Xiaoming decided to leave for a while and let the informer rest in the tavern while he switched to the researcher. The tavern in the strategic map is also a safe area, with a lower security level than the temple. Teleporting between maps is also not possible. The researcher's task of making puppets from the Chamber of Commerce has been completed, and Zaya Cer has taken on another task of making 10 crossbow puppets and is currently working on it. Fortunately, B-level intelligence is okay. Before learning the drawings, you should study them carefully and gain some experience as a cartographer. Xiaoming was quiet and studied all the drawings and formulas at hand. His process is to refine the general drawings first, and if the results are poor, change to important drawings next. If the result of intensive grinding is good, change the next one to something unimportant. The result is average, so the next drawing will be an average drawing. If it were a real, purely mathematical probability, this would make little sense. But the game is different, designed to engage players and balance outcomes. The game will fine-tune the odds accordingly based on the outcome. Slot machines in old casinos also have this mechanism. The result was okay, a scout puppet blueprint was copied. This is a hidden reward. You can't buy it from Huo's Chamber of Commerce even if you don't have enough favorability. Place it in the warehouse with other drawings. Waiting for a character to be available to sell. I used tools to make a scout puppet by hand. I consumed more than twice the materials and made it successfully. Scout puppets are fast and have a wide field of vision. Every character should have one. It's a pity that the mercenaries must be transferred face to face, and the divers and informants cannot get them for the time being. The protagonist switches to the explorer. The explorer has completed the purchasing task of the Chamber of Commerce and is checking the task list and product list at the Chamber of Commerce. Shopkeeper Huo was still away, so the explorer took on a few more whiteboard purchasing tasks. Whiteboard purchasing tasks are basically available in the town, and players earn money for running errands. More advanced tasks may have requirements such as favorability, but Xiaoming doesn't want to do that for the time being. After asking for a single room, the explorer used archaeological techniques on the antiques and suspected antiques on hand. Most of them are daily necessities, and I don't know what they are used for. Maybe they can all develop a quest line, as long as you have time. There are two things that seem to be from the Crusaders of Light. Keep them for now and show them to Han Dong when you have time. I was planning to switch to the diver and play Under the Sea in a while. Zhang Xiaoming received a message reminder from Mao. After entrusting the character to Xiao, he returned to his personal space. What's wrong, Mao? Brother Ming, Xiaoming has corrected Mao's address to him. There is a rare opportunity. The command center of the Chu Galaxy is preparing to launch an infiltration operation, codenamed Spring Rain 3. About 20,000 remote-controlled space exploration robots will be dispatched to break through the shielding defense belt of local creatures and enter the inner star system for exploration. All parties are also welcome to participate. A faint cover operation will also be launched. Do you want to play? That's great. When will we set off? Xiaoming is of course very interested in this matter. 15 minutes later. What? How can there be such an urgent action? Xiaoming was surprised. This action has been in preparation for a long time, and all preparations have been made. Now it is temporarily expanded before departure, and some volunteers are recruited. And bring such a thing? Xiaoming was amused. The command center is really good at playing, and it also has the intention of casting a wide net to catch more fish. In fact, there is the shadow of the nine-tailed fox behind this matter. Well, before the action begins, I will quickly review the information of the Chu Galaxy. Xiaoming's temporary authority has been revoked, and now he only has level 4 authority, and the information he can get is limited. I only know that the local creatures are called Zerg by the military. It may be that they have produced a large amount of strange gas, which obscured the entire inner star system. The Chu star can only see a little red light that can penetrate the obscured area, which is relatively dim. Zerg individuals rarely show their heads from the obscured area, so they are called Zerg. Their types, numbers, sizes, etc. are almost all mysteries. The military must know something, but it is still in the confidentiality stage. A few top forces can share military information. Unfortunately, Xiaoming is not allowed here. The nine-tailed fox is strictly restricted from entering, so I want Xiaoming to go in and take a look. The author will often revise the chapters that have been sent out, because I often find that the previous ones are not well considered and conflict with the later ones. I have to make revisions. Please forgive me for the inconvenience caused to you. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 28. If you want to do your work well, you must first sharpen your tools. Space exploration robots are something Xiaoming must know now. Seeing that it is not a humanoid robot like a mecha, Xiaoming said with a little regret. There are various types of exploration robots, adapted to different environments. They will use a rugby-shaped machine about 1 meter long this time, a bit like a submarine. Generally called a probe. The probe is loaded with a variety of detection equipment, recording equipment, 8 small ion thrusters, a certain amount of fuel, 4 retractable mechanical arms, and sample storage devices for various volumes. The periphery of the machine is covered up to make it look like an ordinary stone. It is also equipped with a device for collecting and using solar energy and gas fuel. The operation method is relatively simple. After transmitting his consciousness to the Chu galaxy, Xiaoming found that he was operating more than one probe. The main brain Zhuiahu allocated him 8 probes, which were remotely controlled by multiple threads. The group controlled by Xiaoming is still on the periphery of the sheltered zone, orbiting the star Chu. It is said that the faint attack has begun, but it is a pity that it is completely invisible. Xiaoming really wants to see the space battle. Other detectors can't see anything either, the space is too vast, 20,000 detectors are scattered in different areas, and the average distance between each other is millions of kilometers. The detector can't see anything here, the brown fog in the shelter area blocks the entire view in front. On the other side is the endless starry sky. The stars that can be seen are just small dots of light. Xiaoming silently feels the magic of the world around him and his own power. It's as if he has become this detector, a very strange feeling. The strangest thing is that he feels like he can use superpowers. This is not scientific, his original body is in the game cabin in his bedroom on Pangu Star. Consciousness can be synchronized with the quantum communication device of the Chu galaxy military in real time through quantum communication, and then remotely control the detector with electromagnetic signals. The so-called transmission of consciousness is just a figurative statement, and consciousness should still be in the original body. What the hell is it that superpowers can be used here? In the Yellow Emperor galaxy, it can be considered that the replica has its own genes. But here there is only metal. Could it be that the carrier of superpowers is actually one's own consciousness? And his consciousness is really attached to the detector? Is it a dream? Is it true or not? Time passed by minute in Xiaoming's wild thoughts. In a blink of an eye, the order to set off was transmitted to the detector. Xiaoming put away his thoughts and put aside the things he couldn't figure out. He started the ion thrusters and the detector turned to the sheltered area. The brown fog was getting closer and clearer. After the detector was immersed in the fog, the optical field of view was only about a few meters. After turning on the infrared, the field of view was much wider. Still nothing was seen. After flying deep for a while, Xiaoming felt that he was unexpectedly suitable for this way of consciousness operation. It was much smoother than the other methods used by the main body. The 8 detectors were lined up in a row, flying like a long snake in the fog. The action itself had no goal, and many people came to try their luck. Xiaoming controlled the team and still headed towards the center of gravity, that is, the star Chu. Nothing could be seen around. Gradually, Xiaoming felt that the connection of consciousness was getting weaker and weaker. Could it be that this fog has the ability to interfere with and block electromagnetic waves? By the way, it seemed that when the operation started, it was reminded not to go too deep. I was too nervous and didn't pay attention. At this time, it is natural to rely on superpowers. Xiao Ming activated his superpowers on a detector in the middle of the team to strengthen and transform it. The communicator was transformed into a matching quantum communicator, which is about the same shape and size as a glass ball. In this way, Xiao Ming's remote control no longer needs to be transferred by the military command. Various detection equipment has also been greatly enhanced, and Xiao Ming has consumed a lot of mental energy for this. The result is also very gratifying. In front of me can be said to be suddenly clear, and the surroundings seem to be as clear as the surface of the planet Pangu. The fog is no longer an obstacle to him. Xiao Ming is no longer going to delve into the scientific principles in the middle. I guess he can't figure it out even if his brain explodes. Finally, I can see clearly. There seem to be countless light spots in the distance. These should be asteroids of various sizes. At this level of quantity, I am afraid that the inner star system has not yet formed an orthodox planet that has cleared its orbit. I don't know if there are dwarf planets. The nearest one is a rock the size of a 3-story building several dozen kilometers away. Xiao Ming decided to go and take a look. Soon, 8 probes landed on various parts of the rock, collecting and analyzing various rock samples. This matter is too professional, so Xiao Ming can't help much. It should be handed over to the probe computer program. At this time, Mao Moer's voice sounded. "Brother Ming, I'm here." Mao Moer, Xiao Ming was surprised, and immediately thought that it might be because he used his superpowers to strengthen the communicator. In any case, Mao Moer's help is great. It's great that you're here. I'll leave it to you. Understood, Brother Ming. You can go back. Huh, Xiao Ming was startled. Did something go wrong in the game? The research work here will not be completed in a short time. Now the Zerg's cover is ineffective for our detection robot, and the field of vision is open. The probe can stop here and make detailed observations of X's inner star system before deciding the next target. Yes, I haven't thought of it yet. Mao Moer is still smart. Before you leave, please use your energy on the robot arm of this detector. Let them bear heavier engineering work. And the efficiency of our energy collection device has been greatly improved, which can support the detection robot to do more difficult work. You have become a spirit, right? Xiao Ming complained silently in his heart. After strengthening the robot arm, his consciousness returned to the game cabin. Let's go to the bottom of the sea to have a look. Xiao Ming logged in as a diver and came to the limestone town under the sea. Xiao Sainer has figured out the map. The intelligent program will not accept the daily tasks of the profession, and he may not be able to complete the mandatory tasks. So he went to the blacksmith shop to do ordinary tasks related to the weapons of the Sea Clan. Purchase materials, deliver goods to the training ground, etc. Now it is almost the 4th task to be completed. Xiao Ming took the opportunity to deliver the task. Ask the fishman blacksmith for information. The blacksmiths on the seabed are very different from those on the surface. It is almost impossible to ignite the seabed, so the Sea Clan mainly relies on submarine volcanoes to smelt metals. Undersea volcanoes are difficult to control. The Sea Clan can only use magic to send the ore to the crater to melt, and then bring the solution out. It is roughly separated in the process of coming out, and is cooled by sea water at the same time, and has become a rough embryo when it is held in the hand. This metal rough embryo has many impurities. At this time, weapons can be made using the Sea Clan forging technique, and the finished product will be rougher. According to legend, the Sea Clan also occupies some islands on the sea surface, and some of the Sea Clan can survive on the surface for a period of time. The island becomes the place where the Sea Clan forges advanced weapons. For the time being, divers cannot reach such a high level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet online game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 29. Although the quality of the sea tribe Naga is good, Xiaoming only intends to let the diver practice forging. This is how he will make big money in the future. He took a rough walk in the grey stone town. He bought a few of everything that was not on the surface, and also bought some blueprints, formulas, crafts, and things that looked like antiques, and stored them in the warehouse. Originally, he planned to transfer the protagonist back to the dead and continue the strategic map. But the task was triggered during the shopping. It was still a familiar task. In the grocery store, he met the mermaid girl Emily, who came to buy on credit. Although she was pretty with blonde hair and blue eyes, her figure was very thin. Emily is an intermediate jeweler and needs excellent quality pearls to experiment with making the treasure water-repellent pearl. If she succeeds, she can be promoted to a senior jeweler. So she came to the grocery store to buy on credit from the boss. Familiar routines, familiar feelings, and the same tune as the promotion of Lu Xiaomei from Biang village to a senior tailor. They are all tasks for players. There is only one player in the Greystone town, the diver, so of course the task can only be bumped into him. Xiaoming bought the last pearl of excellent quality in the grocery store with ease, and gave it to Emily after secretly strengthening it. Emily took out the already made base and inlaid the pearl on it. A flash of light passed by, and Emily was promoted to a senior jeweler, and the ordinary treasure water-repellent beads were successfully made. It's okay to upgrade her profession, how come her figure also seems to have improved a little? Mermaids are really a magical race. Emily successfully upgraded, and the fishman boss of the grocery store immediately smiled, which was completely different from the face that refused to buy on credit just now. Emily's face was flushed with excitement. Xiaoming looked at the treasure handed over by the mermaid girl. Water-repellent beads, ordinary treasure, can be used by players or free NPCs. Contains primary water-repellent magic. It consumes 20 mana to activate, and can displace water within a radius of 2 meters with the treasure as the center, which lasts for 10 minutes. If it exceeds 10 minutes, 5 mana points are required per minute to maintain it. A treasure with great practical value on the surface is just a small gadget in the seabed. Most of the sea creatures know this spell. That's why Emily made this treasure, because she knows very limited spells. Making familiar things is the most suitable way for poor craftsmen to make a living. When she reaches a higher level, she can make other things to make money. This water-repellent bead was given to the diver. It's actually a task reward. At the same time, the diver was also given a blue task, the first show of the treasure. Emily hopes Xiaoming can help so that the treasure can be truly practical. And get feedback from users. The little girl is still very innocent and has requirements for after-sales service. This task would be very time-consuming and laborious for a pure sea creature player, but it is not difficult for Xiaoming. After taking the task, store the water-repellent bead in the warehouse. Then switch to the researcher, take out the treasure from the warehouse at home, go to the small pond outside the bamboo building, and cast a spell. The water in the pool was completely drained, and a tattered leather armor, a few gold and silver coins, and a rotten corpse were found at the bottom of the pool, with bones exposed. This is new. I never expected that the villa given by Huo's Chamber of Commerce would have such a dark side. Let's put it away first. Switch back to the diver and go to the jewelry store. Deliver the task to Emily. The favor ability has accumulated to 50 friends. You can buy a lot of good things in the jewelry store. This favor ability is the highest among all the NPCs Xiaoming has met. Adventure treasures, water shield ring, with magic water shield spell, water jade necklace, with magic blessing spell, ice crystal bracelet, with ice arrow magic. There is only one supply of each treasure. The second one can only be bought next week. Strategic treasure, water walking shoes, players can consume 5 times the action power of flat ground and walk on the water. They must go ashore before the action power is consumed, otherwise everyone will drown. Emily has only one of this treasure. The preferential price is 2,000 gold coins. Xiaoming gritted his teeth and bought it. Although the surface of the water has not yet been seen on the strategic map. But this kind of treasure really can't be missed. Xiaoming took out some products on the surface to show Emily. There are weapons, armor, etc., as well as some crafts that are not related to combat. Xiaoming has not seen the jewelry on the surface. Emily likes it very much and agrees to put it on consignment in her store. Because the industry is not the same, the selling price will be a little discounted. But as soon as you look at the price, you can tell that it is 3-5 times the retail price on the surface, which is enough to make money. It's just that the scale is limited. For the time being, only one piece of crafts can be replenished every day. Weapons and armor can only be replenished once every 3 days. Mercenaries cannot be bought and sold. In theory, puppets made by researchers can be sold. But not on the seabed. Without special waterproofing treatment, they cannot be used on the seabed. So according to the rules of the seabed, they cannot be consigned, which is a bit of a pity. Finally, international trade has been realized. Although Xiaoming doesn't make much money for the time being, he is very relieved. Buy some non-attribute crafts from Emily. Go back to the blacksmith shop and continue to do his business. Finally, a green difficult task appeared in the list of the blacksmith shop. Find the right materials. Old Peter, the fisherman blacksmith, wants to forge a level 2 equipment, but lacks advanced materials. Please help, limited to 3 days. Xiaoming likes material tasks the most. The normal way is to go to the material store, bribe, or buy enough goods, and then you can have the opportunity to buy advanced materials. Or you can go to the material production area, improve the favorability between you and the workers, and have a chance to buy his collection. There are always some advanced monsters near the material production area, and there is also a chance to drop materials. Or if the player is a worker, he can mine by himself. Xiaoming can naturally complete the task by strengthening ordinary materials. After thinking about it, Xiaoming decided to test the materials on land first. The result was that old Peter looked down on the excellent iron ingots, but he liked the ordinary iron ingots very much. The task was completed. Old Peter's favorability add 10, experience and money. After getting the new materials, the fisherman blacksmith quickly started forging equipment, but unfortunately he didn't have the skills of Emily or Lu Xiaomei, and the forging failed. In frustration, he decided to sign an indefinite contract with Xiaoming, purchasing one ordinary iron ingot from Xiaoming at a high price every day until old Peter succeeded. The purchase price was 5 times the ground price of the iron ingot. Sure enough, as long as one business is done, others will follow. When I was not sure what to do next, the message prompted that it was 12 noon and it was time to have lunch. It happened that Xiaoming entrusted the diver. He exited the game cabin by himself. As a result, Xiaojing stayed in the game and waited for half an hour before coming out. The two went out to eat a bowl of noodles, and Xiaojing hurried back to the game cabin. What's wrong with this little girl? Just now I asked her about the character in the game, but she kept it secret and refused to tell me. She's so weird. Xiaoming already has experience. At this time, the best way is not to be curious. You will know what you should know later, and forget what you shouldn't know. What kind of experience is this? It's clearly laziness. Before returning to the game cabin, Xiaoming experimented silently for a while and found that magic could not be used on Pangu Star. But it felt weird again. The magic could not be cast, but there was always a sense of being eager to use it. Tried meditation again. This can be done, but there is no effect in the game. It seems to be just a simple daze, a bit silly. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 30. Log in as the person who informed the dead and come to the tavern. There are two more people at the same table, or to be more precise, two more zombie NPCs. One is wearing tattered cloth and the other is wearing tattered armor. They look like a scholar and a warrior. When he saw Xiaoming, the cloth-wearing zombie immediately made a request to Xiaoming. Zombie Ito Hominer has applied to you, hoping to be hired by you to be the shopkeeper in your outdoor tavern. Please choose whether to accept. What? Is this my tavern? Xiaoming was a little confused. That's right, it's like building it yourself. It's very reasonable for the system to list it under his name. This is really an unexpected surprise. To make matters better, a zombie NPC came out and asked to be the shopkeeper. What else can I say? I accepted it immediately. Congratulations to the Tavern of the Deceased for welcoming the first shopkeeper, Zombie Ito Hominer. The tavern is officially open for business. As the prompts, Hominer has already stood behind the bar of the tavern. There are also several zombie waiters walking back and forth in the tavern, doing some chores. The tavern has become much more lively. The name Ito Hominer did not cause any fluctuations in Zhang Xiaoming. It was just a naming method of a minority in the country. The He tribe has been annexed and integrated into the Chinese bloodline for more than 1,000 years. After a long period of intermarriage, they are basically no different from the Chinese. Occasionally, someone will take a name with a minority flavor, probably just for fun, and it is hard to say how many He bloodlines there are. So Xiaoming does not know what this nation has done in another world. Readers and authors know that the appearance of this name means that someone in the production team of the game Magic Planet must have known some information about another world, so they added them to the game. As for arranging this tribe as the undead tribe, it is probably to meet the title of devils. Some people will know that this Ito Hominer is by no means a simple character. Unfortunately, Xiaoming does not know. He was looking through the system information and found that the information that the tavern belonged to him was sent to him by the system after he just repaired the tavern. But he was not clear-headed at the time and was in a hurry to enter the tavern to hire heroes, so he did not pay attention. Later, he switched roles. It was not until now that this matter was discovered. Although it is just an ordinary tavern, and the shopkeeper Ito Bowen is just an ordinary NPC, disguised. But the function of the tavern itself is already very powerful. First of all, the tavern belongs to the dead, and can be used as a home. Rest here and automatically recover to 3 times the usual. There is a warehouse here, where you can store supplies and take out the water shoes to equip. Secondly, this is a safe zone, and you can go offline safely. But you can't teleport to the adventure map. Only players or NPCs of hostile forces can destroy the tavern. As the owner, the dead can also send troops to garrison. There are also functions of the tavern itself. 1. Entertain passing NPC heroes, generals, ordinary NPCs, and even arms creatures. The dead do not have to be in the tavern, and can also hire NPCs through the shopkeeper. This is the biggest advantage. 2. Profit. Xiaoming needs to pay wages and costs to maintain the operation of the tavern. If the tavern is well managed, it will also make a lot of profits. If it is not well managed, it will lose money. 3. Collect intelligence. The tavern itself has the ability to collect intelligence. Update it regularly for the dead. The effects of the above functions mainly depend on the ability of the NPC in the tavern, the reputation of the tavern and the flow of customers. The determining factors of customer flow include, the location of the tavern, the prosperity of the map, whether there are major events, etc. Xiaoming gave the scout wooden puppet he made to the shopkeeper for use, and the intelligence collection function was significantly enhanced. If there is time, I must make more. The next target is the zombie in armor. The tavern can see the superficial information of the zombie, The zombie is called Katagiri Kiwaner and is actually a green elite level general. The attributes cannot be seen. The force is a group of more than a dozen zombies. Here is what a general is. A hero can lead the army to fight independently and can have multiple troops under his command, which is equivalent to a commander. The general cannot fight independently and must belong to a hero. He can only act as an agent for one troop. The hero needs to pay the corresponding command power to command the general. The troops led by the general only consume the general's personal command power, and do not need to consume the hero's command power. At the same time, this troop is only bonused by the general's strategic attributes, and no longer by the hero. Players need to pay attention to the application method, and generally speaking, it will greatly enhance the hero's strength. Xiaoming invites Katagiri to drink. The wine that the undead drink is specially made with the breath of death. After drinking more than a dozen cups, 1 gold coin per cup, the option to apply for employment appears. Naturally, the employment application is made. Katagiri is also willing to be employed by the deceased. Xiaoming only needs to meet one of his conditions first, which is one of 3 choices. Xiaoming chose the easiest option for him: repair armor and weapons. He got Katagiri's worn-out armor and worn-out kitchen knife. The other 2 conditions, one is a bribe of 5,000 gold coins, which Xiaoming does not have, the other is to give a first-level strategic treasure, which Xiaoming is reluctant to give. If there is no repair task, then he has to give it up. The deceased returned to his room in the tavern and used superpowers and some resources to repair the armor and kitchen knife. And used the identification technique on it, and got useless information such as Katagiri's armor and Katagiri's weapons. You know it without saying it. At least it's a practice of identification. Put the 2 pieces of equipment into the warehouse. Switch to the explorer and used the archaeology technique separately. Archaeology armor got information: the armor is called Kanayu armor set, I don't know what it means. Archaeology kitchen knife got information: the kitchen knife originally belonged to a black warrior, Katagiri met and fought with him, his original weapon, the spear, was taken away by the black warrior, and the kitchen knife was picked up by someone else. The guy has such a story? I don't know if this black warrior is the same person as the one I know, climbed out of the warrior's tomb. Xiaoming switched to several other characters, wanting to buy some general equipment. After searching everywhere without results, he finally saw an old spear in the blacksmith shop in the underwater limestone town. After identification, it was found that it was a general's equipment. Later, he switched to the explorer and used the archaeology technique on it, but only got a few gold coins. He spent a lot of gold coins to buy the spear. Old Peter said it was inherited from his ancestors. Xiaoming was very suspicious. How could the sea tribe inherit weapons from the surface? But he was too lazy to ask more. In fact, if you dig deeper here, there will be a quest line. Although Xiaoming had doubts, he didn't have time to continue to develop. Unlike heroes, generals can wear strategic equipment to improve their strategic attributes. They can only rely on random points and talents when they upgrade. General equipment can only improve their personal strength. When the player reaches level 2, he will encounter the choice of being a hero or a general. If you choose to be a general, you must abide by the rules of the general and wear the equipment of the general. You must also be attached to the hero and cannot form an army independently. Therefore, normal players generally should not choose to be a general. Players may train other characters, that is, trumpets, into generals. It is still quite practical.